you have joined the New Silk Road webinar, a dedicated RailFreight live show where we will discuss the upcoming European Silk Road Summit taking place in December in Amsterdam. We have all the information that you need and an interesting lineup of guests to dive into this topic. Hello everyone and welcome. It's Friday, 12 November. Today we will discuss about the European Silk Road Summit, an upcoming event that will take place on 7 and 8 December in Amsterdam, here in the Netherlands. On the table with me I have my colleague Arie van Dijk. Hello. Hi. Arie.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Frans-Paul van der Putte from the Clingendael Institute in the Netherlands. Hello Frans-Paul.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome. And online we have another guest. It's Alexey Kravchenko from FESCO. Welcome, Alexey.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So, both Frans-Paul and Alexey are going to be among the speakers of the European Silk Road Summit, and I'm really interested into having a sneak preview of their presentations. But before we proceed in this discussion, Arie, I want to address you, because you know all about the summit and you are here to explain everything, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So the European Silk Road Summit is our flagship event, I would say. But this year comes with a special edition. Why is that so?
Yeah, it's our 5th edition. So the RailFreight Summit, of course, we always have it in Poland, but we also always have the Silk Road Summit. And the Silk Road, well, we all know in the last couple of years it has grown tremendously. And especially in these last couple of years, during the pandemic, we see an enormous surge in cargo stream, both ways actually. And yeah, we had at first the Dutch event, the Zijderoute-congres, but through years it evolved to the European Silk Road Summit. And it's really an event for the European side of the Silk Road, as well as the Chinese side. We invite them to participate, and I know for a fact there are a number of participants from China with us. But it will be very important to really bring the European side together, talk about challenges, talk about development, and really make sure the Silk Road keeps on growing, I hope.
So it's a celebration, it's a year for celebration, both for the summit, but also for the Silk Road, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's growing, so we can celebrate that, but I don't think it's wise to sit still. We should talk about the challenges, which are many, and I think we need to work on those. With the logistical industry, a lot of logistical brains coming together and giving some keen insights from all different perspectives. Because we have shippers on board, we've got, of course, the logistic service providers, the operators, port communities, everybody who's in the supply chain will be there. And especially in these times where rates are going crazy in ocean freight, but also in the Silk Road, we see the congestion challenges. I think it's very wise to talk to each other about that and see how we can compete even better with other modalities.
Okay, let's dive into the details of the event. When and where does it take place? Yeah,
well, you mentioned it already. It will take place in the beginning of December in Amsterdam. So it's a physical event, but we say, okay, it's a hybrid event because everybody knows the pandemic. It's very, it's a very difficult situation to predict how things are developing. So that's why we built this studio, in fact, a couple of years ago, and we're doing a lot of broadcasts from here. But all our events are hybrid, which means that they're all being streamed. So participants from around the globe can view live what's going on, but we also want some live audience, and we're still quite confident that we can have some live audience with us in Amsterdam, but for sure a large part will also be with us digitally. We already have participants from 20 different countries, so that's very widespread, all different rules and regulations, so it's interesting to see how that will develop. But we'll use all our tools and all we have to really make the matchmaking and the one-on-one networking happen physically or online. So
okay,
very happy to do that.
Do we have a venue already arranged for the event?
Yeah, the venue, it's in Amsterdam, and it's called Pakhuis de Zwijger, which is a very nice venue. We'll do it there no matter what, because we got all the studio equipment and gear also there, and we want to receive a number of guests. And I think with the QR code regulations we have in the Netherlands, we still for sure can do that. So we want people there live, we want to talk to them live, but for sure there will also be a lot digital participants.
Yes, it's a hybrid event as you mentioned,
Yeah.
but regarding the physical presence and the whole COVID thing going on right now, do we have a clear overview of what our guests will need in order to attend?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody. That's a thing. We arranged it pretty nice in Europe. You have the QR code, of course, scanning for access. We will use that, so everybody needs to scan, and then they can participate in the event. We are currently still within our limit to maintain also the social distancing if that's necessary. So we're monitoring that day by day, and we're going to see how that develops. But for sure, we'll have a European RailFreight Summit, and for sure everybody will be able to attend digital or physically, like I said.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Now, why Amsterdam? Why choosing Amsterdam for the event?
Yeah, well, Amsterdam is very interesting. A couple of years ago, they had their first train for the Silk Road departing there, and they've got big ambitions on the Silk Road. We know that for a fact. Of course, Amsterdam is a big logistical hotspot in any case. So we were thinking, okay, it will be Duisburg or Amsterdam, and in the end we choose this time for Amsterdam. Perhaps next year we'll go to Duisburg or another hotspot in Europe, but I think the venue suits us quite well, and current developments also helps us with that. And we would like to also take a look at some logistical local hotspots, like we're going to go to the TMA terminal. And also, we want to go to the locks. That's the biggest lock in the world is being built right now. So it's quite interesting to have some insights in that, how it's developing as well.
So we're going to have a side tour for sure. That's one of the special elements of this year's summit.
Hosted by Nunner, our partner. Yeah.
Nice. And any other special elements, maybe?
Well, of course, we will have the dinner and all kinds of different things during the event. But if you look at the program, we'll have some different workshops during the event, so people can do breakouts. And different to other Silk Road summits, people are really going to be part of the logistical challenge we have. So different workshops will handle different topics, and people need to use their logistical knowledge to help us out.
It's all about knowledge exchange after all, right?
For sure, yeah, for sure. And networking, of course, and that will take place in any way.
It's a great combination, I think.
Yeah.
And what about an overview of maybe the speakers or the key themes?
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of international speakers, of course, because it's a very international topic. We really want to dive into the Russian perspective of the Silk Road, because that's developing also quite rapidly, and we really want to know, okay, where are the biggest challenges? If we look to that connection, is that the connection which will grow in the future? Of course, we have the middle corridor, but that's a little bit less popular at this point. So we're looking at how we're going to do that with our Russian friends, and also if you look at different regulations, what you have to maintain, congestion at borders, etc., etc. That will be a big part of the topics we're going to talk about. I mentioned earlier also we're going to talk about the rates, which are going crazy in the supply chains. So what does that mean for the Silk Road? Is the Silk Road becoming more attractive or less attractive? And of course, we cannot go without. We need to talk about subsidies. There's a lot of talk about the Chinese government kept stepping back in the subsidies. What does that mean? Is this perhaps a good time? Now the rates are going up. Yeah, all different views. I think different perspectives, different opinions. But let's talk about it and let's try to fix something, perhaps.
Precisely. And how does the audience react so far for?
It's growing every year tremendously. So I was hoping we could have 300 people physically in the event venue. We were very well on schedule to achieve that goal, but I think now with the current developments, perhaps we should keep it at 150 and the rest digital. But there will be a big audience for sure, and like I said, also very international. So really good to make the networking happen, and we've got all kinds of tools also to do that online. So I think that's nice.
So we have some tickets left. So I guess
sure,
people interested, people interested still have the chance to.
For
book
sure,
them, right?
if you're working on the Silk Road, you should be here for sure, because it's the biggest in Europe for sure as well. So please attend and meet your potential business partner.
Okay, and what about you? What do you expect most from the European Silk Road Summit?
What do I expect most? Well, I expect the networking to be very important and to really build our hub, our knowledge hub, because it's growing every year, and like RailFreight is growing, our events are growing with it, and I'm quite enthusiastic about the Silk Road, although I know there are all kinds of different perspectives to look at it, but we were in it very early, and we see the cargo stream developing tremendously, so I want to be on board with that and learn more about that and keeping everybody involved at play@railfreight.com.
Okay, sounds good. Now, Arie, I know that you have a very busy day lying ahead of you,
sure,
so I'm going to set you free from the studio.
All right.
Thank you very much for being here and for
look
providing.
Forward to seeing you during the event.
I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in the event.
For sure.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, and now it's time to move forward to our online guest. Hello, Alexey.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Lars.
Hi, welcome. So, as Arie mentioned previously, one of the key themes in this year's European Silk Road Summit is going to be Russia. And you are working for FESCO, and FESCO is very active in Russia currently. It's intensely focusing in the country. Why is that so? What potential do you see there?
First of all, welcome from the sunny Almaty, Kazakhstan. Right now, yes, FESCO is one of the biggest transport group in Russia. So first of all, we originate from Russia. That is why Russia is our home market. Secondly, we see great potential of containerization in Russia, because the rate of containerization now in Russia is about 10%. So it is 2 times less than in Europe, or 3 times less than in USA. And there is a huge potential of transit through Russia. So within 5 previous years, the compound annual growth rate was about 39%. And we expect that this tendency, this trend will go on, maybe in less, in lower league digits, but transit will develop.
Yes, as you mentioned, transport volumes via Russia have increased during the last few years. Why is that, though?
So the answer is quite simple. The deep sea rates are now much higher than the rates via intermodal through the ports of the Russian Far East and through the cross-border stations. While FESCO is mainly working via the Russian Far East port, our group possesses the biggest Russian container port, Vladivostok. That is why our main corridor is Asia, Vladivostok, and then to intra-Russia or to Europe via a number of gateways. And this intermodal solution is now more convenient for the customers than the direct rail. So that is why so it is the most reliable corridor for now in terms of congestion and in terms of rates.
Okay, and that's why I guess there is so much focus in Far East ports currently in Russia, right?
Yeah, there is a big attention to this area. There is also congestion there, but comparing all the corridors, for now we really see that this corridor is the most reliable for now.
Now I want to get back in one of your previous answers, because you said that the transport volumes grew in Russia, but does this growth is this growth also reflected in the RailFreight market's share in Russia or not?
Yeah, for sure. The share of railway transportation and containerized railway transportation is increasing, and the cargo is moving to containers from FTL, from trucks, and, which is more important, it is moving from conventional wagons into containers. So from open-top wagons, gondola wagons, and covered wagons into containers. Because you really see that on the cross-border stations between Kazakhstan and China and Russia and China, the containers are prioritized. So the priority is given to containers. That is why a lot of cargo is moved into containers. For example, we really see this year coal is moved to containers. All the ore concentrates moved to containers, as well as metals that are really new spheres, new opportunities for container shipping.
Okay, as I understand, you're using Vladivostok, the port of Vladivostok, as your main hub in the Russian Far East, correct?
Yeah, the business model of our company is intermodal transportation, using our own assets on every stage of the intermodal transportation. Thus, we have our own container lines between Asia and intra-Asia and Russia. We have the biggest port of containers in Russia, the port of Vladivostok. We have our own rolling stock of fitting platforms, and we have 100,000 TEU our own containers. So we work on different corridors. Our ambition is to be a Eurasian company, but yes, the heart of our company is Vladivostok.
Okay, but since you wish to become a Eurasian company, which routes are you using currently to link Vladivostok with Europe?
We are using different corridors. We name them as solutions. Our main solution is a so-called Trans-Siberian Land Bridge via Vladivostok and Brest. We also have Trans-Baltic Bridge, which is the corridor via Vladivostok and the port of St. Petersburg, and then to ports of Europe. We have Trans-Finland Bridge, Vladivostok, then Helsinki and Europe. We have a Mongolian Bridge, which is Zaminut, so we are Mongolia, then to St. Petersburg, and then to Europe. This month, we are going to start Westgate Bridge, which is Vladivostok, Kaliningrad, and then to Europe. Okay. And our customers can choose the appropriate corridor and solution basing on their geography. For example, into the inland Europe or coastal areas in Europe where the most quantity of warehouses are situated.
So the most basic, most important characteristic of your services is multimodality, basically, right?
Yes, it is multimodality. I think about 90%, 90% is multimodality. We also work in direct rail, all rail shipments, but as a second priority.
Okay. All right. Now, Alexey, you're going to participate in the European Silk Road Summit. Specifically, you're going to take part in a panel discussion about the Far East ports. What topics do you anticipate addressing mostly?
I will discuss and I will share my ideas and our company ideas about the current market, about the trends that are going to be seen in the future year. And for sure, I would like to have an open discussion with other players on the market, sharing ideas. We as FESCO, we really can say something interesting to the audience about the current situation, but we really would like to learn about how other players of the market are doing and what they are seeing in the market. Secondly, maybe if we can check and say something interesting, maybe we can discuss added value solutions and digital solutions, because we really see that it is very important in the future decade to not only arrange transport, but to be digital, to be closer to the customer, to be the quality leader.
Okay, Alexey, thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to meeting you in Amsterdam this coming December. I wish you all the best and see you in a few weeks.
Yes, Lars, so thank you very much. And I heard your discussion about Duisburg or Amsterdam. I really hope that some year you will choose Vladivostok as a city to host your summit.
That's a great.
Thank you very much, dear audience.
That's a great tip. I think we should think about it seriously. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Bye-bye.
dear audience. Bye-bye.
And now we're back to our studio and our patiently waiting guest here, Frans-Paul from the Clingendael Institute. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Very good, Nikos.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great. So welcome. Frans-Paul, you are a researcher. You're a typical academic, right?
That's right. So Clingendael is a think tank. It's a research institute, and we focus mainly on international relations. So we look at things particularly from a international political point of view.
So the first question that comes in mind is, why would the Belt and Road Initiative be an important research topic for Clingendael?
Well, for us, I mean, my work is focused on China, and also for Clingendael as an institute, China has become a very important topic. And when we look at the international political role of China, to understand this, we have to look at the economic side, because things are changing in the world because China is becoming more influential, and it's particularly because China is has become a very big economic actor. So we need to focus on the economic side to be able to understand the political implications, but also to understand the political elements that influence the economic relations of China. And I think the New Silk Road is an excellent example and an important element of China's international economic presence.
So this is the research angle that you use, right? The underlying political issues behind economical and business expansion, right?
That's correct, yeah. It's especially the interaction between the international political developments and the international economic developments.
Okay. What is the main message that you would like to express and transmit during the European Silk Road Summit this year?
For me, the main point is to emphasize that that there's a bigger context within which the New Silk Road has developed so far and will continue to develop in the future, and that geopolitics is increasingly a part of this bigger picture. What we see is an increasing combination between economic elements and geopolitical elements. So it's no longer, I think today already, it's no longer possible to focus only on economic developments without looking at the geopolitics, but also the other way around.
Okay. You also attended the European Silk Road Summit back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, right? Has the situation between Europe and China changed or improved at all?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that it's really interesting for me to follow the New Silk Road Summit through the years. I've also attended the first edition 5 years ago, so it's great also to be back now. And what has changed between China and Europe is that I think on the one hand the economic ties have become even more integrated. So the economic integration has been increasing, while at the same time the political relations at the political level, the relations have become more difficult. Just to name some important developments that took place since 2018, it's that the European Union, the European Commission, published a report in 2019 saying that, China is, for us, for the European Union, China is an international partner, is an economic competitor, but it's also a systemic rival. And this really caught the attention from the Chinese government and was interpreted by the Chinese government as, a more critical attitude from the European side. And I think this is indeed the case. And then just recently, more recently in this year, there were sanctions and counter-sanctions. So sanctions from the EU on China and counter-sanctions from China on EU, which have made the international, let's say, the political relations between the two sides more complicated.
And how do these complicated political relations impact the actual business on the New Silk Road?
The interesting thing about the New Silk Road, if I look at the development over the last 10 years, so over the history of the New Silk Road since it just began, is that I think in the early phase, there were a lot of people having doubts about the feasibility of the New Silk Road. People thinking that, okay, maybe it's just something that is artificially created with support, with a lot of subsidies from the Chinese government, but it will never have a big impact on the actual economic relations between Europe and China. While at the same time, at that time, many people also thought that, well, it's not politically, it's also not very relevant. And I think now it's changing very rapidly. I think it's become much more visible now that the New Silk Road actually has proven to be very feasible and is something that we have to take into account that will continue to develop. So economically it's becoming more important. But that also means that it will probably attract increasing political attention. And I think the New Silk Road is really a symbol also of increasing integration throughout Eurasia. So China, Europe, but also Russia. And this is at a time when the geopolitical tensions between the West and on the one hand and Russia and China on the other hand are increasing. So it's likely that people in the future will focus more on this symbol of Eurasian integration and ask if this is really if this is not an economic phenomenon that is going against the main direction of geopolitics.
So there could be a conflict between the economics and geopolitics, right?
That is something that we have to take into account, that there will be some increasing contradiction there.
Okay, now we're talking about geopolitics, economics. These can be potentially quite difficult topics to comprehend and digest. I want to ask a very specific question. In the introduction of your presentation, you mentioned that people say that China launched the Belt and Road Initiative as a response to the geopolitical rivalry with the US. Can you explain this a bit? How can the New Silk Road and the Belt Road Initiative can become a political tool, as I understand it, right?
Yes, I would say it has several functions for the Chinese government. It's also an economic tool, but it's also a political tool. I think, in my view, it's not a coincidence that the Chinese government launched the New Silk Road at the time, so around 10 years ago, at the same time when the geopolitical tensions between China and the United States began to increase. They have been increasing ever since, over the past 10 years. But what happened around that time is that the United States, which has a very strong military presence in East Asia, began to be more concerned about China's expanding economic influence in that region, in Asia. So the United States began to put more pressure on China through its military presence. And I think this was an extra impulse for the Chinese government to look more west, to look at its economic relations with the rest of Asia, but also with Europe, and to be more concerned about the resilience of the trade connections between China and Europe, because Europe is an important market, of course, an export market for China. Europe is a very important economic partner, and I think the New Silk Road serves a strategic interest for China because it provides China and international companies with additional options to have, transport connections between the European Union and China.
Now, I'm very interested because you mentioned before that the European Union sees China as a systemic rival, right? So we can still see how China is economically expanding towards Europe, for instance, with COSCO ports, etc., etc. Apart from sanctions, what else can Europe do in order to secure that there will be a level playing field between the two parties?
I think one of the main concerns on the European side is the role of Chinese state-owned entities, or let's say the role of the Chinese government in the economic relations with the European Union. So whereas the European Union prefers to have purely business-to-business, meaning purely private actors, there is an increasing, there is a certain role of the Chinese government. So as China increasingly is being regarded as a systemic rival, this then also raises the concern on the European side and raises the question, to what extent should Chinese commercial entities be allowed to play a major role in this important connection with China? So I think in addition to sanctions, there could also be considerations with regard to access to So for Chinese companies to be able to invest in Europe or to be able to play dominant roles in certain market sectors.
Okay, I guess that you will discuss about all these topics in detail during your presentation in the European Silk Road Summit, but you're not going to do the presentation alone, right? You're going to have it with one of your colleagues.
A very important point, and I should mention my colleague, Xiaoxue Martin, who is also a China researcher at Clingendael, and we will do the presentation together.
Okay, but after the presentation, there is a debate with the audience, between you and the audience, so maybe you give us a sneak preview of what the points you would like to address, any specific issues?
Well, for me, the interesting thing about the New Silk Road Summit and also the exciting thing about this kind of debate is to bring together the more, let's say, the operational logistical side and the broader geopolitical context. And you know, maybe in the short term, on day-to-day basis, the geopolitics are not very visible, but for the longer term development, if we look into the future, try to understand where all this is going, then I think the interaction between those two sides is very important.
Okay, and what do you expect to learn from the European Silk Road Summit? What added value could it bring to your research?
Well, for me, and this was also the case with previous editions, it gives me a very good perspective on what are the issues that are relevant for the actual companies who are making the Silk Road work, and how do they look at the future? What do they expect? Are they optimistic? Do they expect even further expansion of the new Silk Road? So that kind of insights are very relevant for me as a researcher.
Okay, sounds great. Then Frans-Paul, thank you very much for being here today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in Amsterdam, right?
I also look forward to be there.
Perfect, thank you very much. Now, our dear guests, before we close this webinar, I would like to mention something very important concerning the live show of next week. So next Friday, the RailFreight live show will take place in a special edition again, in the form of a webinar. And we have some very interesting news and announcements to share with you, so make sure that you will sign up. Now, we have reached the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for attending. I hope that the discussions have been informative and fruitful for you. Goodbye for now and have a nice weekend.
En ook u kunt hier zitten, want deze coronaproof studio is te huur voor uw congres, vergadering of webinar. We hebben alle techniek in huis om u hierbij te helpen. Kijk voor meer informatie op promedia.nl. Ik zie u graag in onze studio.